So that's it. Then the next principle is principle of justice. And principle of justice means a principle based on equality, based on fairness, and based on equity. So fairness, you have to show a kind of fair play. You have to, show consideration. You don't have to, take undue advantage over another person. You have to be fair. Then equality, it means that you have to treat people equally, without discrimination, without partiality, no favoritism, no nepotism, because this one is my blood brother. No. And no ethnicism, no any ism that is negative. So you have to balance, people on the basis of equality. And this is more manifest in the hospital, because this one is my brother. Maybe he must be seen first before other people that came earlier. Yes, even it comes to registration points. That's my neighbor, so let me know. So it's not supposed to be so. Yeah, you have to treat people equally, and what have you, first come first serve, something like that. But there is a problem also with equality. Equality is very good, but if you treat everybody on the basis of equality, there are some other people that may be shortchanged. What about people that are physically challenged? People that cannot move freely? People that are elderly? They have their peculiarities. What about people like a child that what about people in a state of emergency? What about pregnant women that cannot, stay for a long time waiting to see? So all this you have to prioritize on the basis of equity and see whom you are going to give a service that needs it much earlier than the other one. You remember, even equity played out during the COVID-19 pandemic abroad. You find out it was screened who needs ventilator among several patients that were. So if you say you're going to treat all those people on an equal basis, some people will die before their time, if that's possible. Anyway, anybody that dies his time anyway. But there might be possibility some people will need that ventilator more than the other one. Yes. I think what was happening at that time, elderly people were not considered when you compare them with the children, because these people have already lived years, and the children have, so they concentrate on the concept. So it's the basis of equity. And this ethical requirement also posed another challenge. People are even saying that, look at these dialysis machines now that are very expensive. Yes. So if a poor man is having that kidney challenge, how can he be able to access that? It's very difficult. The concept of equity then requires that everybody should be able to access that machine. So that machine, may favor mostly the rich people, which need to be looked into that factors that affect the implementation of that. So people are looking at the ethical consideration too, just like telemedicine. Just like telemedicine, it can be applied to rural areas, and it can improve on positive sides equity, because those people in the rural areas now who cannot be able to access sophisticated medical equipment and devices, through telemedicine they can be treated, they can be reached out even in the rural areas, and they can be treated. You see how technology can support equity, and you can also see how it can become a barrier to equity based on inequalities economically. Some people cannot access the medical interventions that need to survive. So that's it. So that's what justice is all about. Yes, that's it.
Thank you very much, sir. From your discussion, from what you've been saying, I want to believe that you have even ventured into some of the questions that we have before us.
Yeah, thank you.
Exactly, because even the question number one says, why ethics? So, Doctor, as we were saying, based on the first question that says why, most of the time, the why questions are always broad. So let me go straight to the next question.
All right.
Yes, sir, so that we can, what are really the sources of ethics? What are the sources of ethics?
Yes, ethics has many sources because it's about molding a character and behavior to a moral one, for one to be acting in a good way, not a bad way. So most of these sources, number one is religion. Number one is religion. Religion, is our holy books, have a strong ethical guides and moral values. It guides individual, to show justice, equity, fairness to everyone. And it also prevent us from doing the wrong thing and advocate us to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And to show kindness, as we've said in the principle of beneficence, to be charitable, to show some sense of charity, to respect others, to be courteous to patients, the weak, the vulnerable, all these ones. Therefore, you can see even religion, our holy book, is the most biggest source of ethics, because all these ethical things you can find it in the holy book. And philosophy, philosophers always come out with philosophical ideas that promote morality. So even our educational system are a product of philosophy. When you see a mixed school, it's a product of philosophy. When you see a school that only has elites, very expensive school, it's a product of another philosophy. When you have a model where it has only male in the school, it's a philosophy. So it all depends on how they discuss these ideas and they come about philosophical application in terms of education is concerned. So philosophy is one. Then we have code of ethics. That is, each profession has a code of ethics of its own profession. So in healthcare, code of ethics is another set. Yeah. And set of code of ethics is also sought from Hippocratic oaths, because every oath, or code of ethics of a healthcare profession, it has a link with Hippocratic oaths. Yes, it has a very long oath. So each one moves there to pick. I think with the exception of nurses. Nurses have their own philosophy of ethics from Florence Nightingale, which made a certain prayer, and from that prayer, nurses draw their own code of ethics. But in health information management, it drew its own ethics from Hippocrates. In the long oath of the Hippocrates, there is a place where Hippocrates was saying, "Whatsoever I see or hear in the lives of men shall never be spoken outside or abroad. Everything shall be kept secret." And that is the foundation of confidentiality of health information management. To the extent that when students are graduating, the oath they used to take is they will raise up their hands and say, "I pledge that whatsoever information I come across, I will never reveal it to any other person except with the directive of the chief executive officer of the institution which I may be serving. So help me God." You see, it's also linked to that, yeah, confidentiality. So